So we are talking about a topic that shouldn't be taboo, but for some reason it is, and it is masturbation, which is a normal form of sexual experience. It is quite normal. It is very satisfying, if we're being honest, and it's more of a if you're in a self-discovery journey, you want to know what works for you, what makes you feel good. There are things you're going to experiment with, and it all comes to where you are sexually, how you know yourself, because it is very unfair for us to have an expectation of what we want from other people when we do not even know what works out for us. You know, some people prefer certain positions, some people prefer certain stimulations, some people hate certain stimulation. I'll give you an example. I hope this is PG.
Yeah.
For example, nipple play. It's not for everybody.
It really isn't.
It is. It just does not do things for some people. For some people, that is it. That is heaven for them. That's the spot right there. But if you do not know this about yourself, and you're out here getting frustrated at somebody else because they do not know what works for you, and you've not explained it or shown them, then you're doing yourself a disservice. So, in my personal opinion, is masturbation is more about self-discovery and also self-satisfaction, because if I don't do it, who will? You know, who will? But also, if it gets out of hand, we're not saying it's not normal, it's absolutely normal, a normal thing to do, but what are the signs that it's getting out of hand when it starts now interfering with your day-to-day life?
Yeah, moderation is key. And first of all, as Turi has mentioned, it is 100% a variable situation. Some people like it, some people also don't like it. Also, based on the religion you were brought up in, you can have a lot of guilt around it.
Shame.
You can have a lot of shame and a lot of just like hiding about it. It can feel like you are sinning all the time, you know, like there is that attachment to masturbation as a sin within religious sects, and so it is first of all, that is a difficult thing to undo. Like, it is difficult to undo that. And also there are complications in place. For example, when you are ever even asked this question, I think on Instagram, like, when are you allowed to do it? Like, when are there caveats? For example, you're in a relationship, are you still masturbating? You're in a marriage, are you still giving yourself a little love? Like, when you are single, is that the only time that you're allowed to do it? Like, there's so many different questions to ask with particularity to this, but at the end of the day, the one thing we need to make very, very clear is it is such a varied and complex issue, because it is a very individual choice. Like, if you feel like it's not for me, then it's not for you. You know, if you feel like the shame is too much, then that's something to talk about. That's something to figure out for yourself. Like, why am I attaching so much shame? Why am I attaching so much, you know, what's the word? So much guilt and emphasis on, oh my God, I'm a bad person because I'm doing it. That is 100% an issue. However, let's now, as Turi has just asked me a question here, which was, how do you know it's getting out of hand? And this is super, super simple. The frequency of it. Like, how frequently are you masturbating? Is it like the first thing that you wake up thinking about? Is it like at work, you're just wondering, when am I going to get a break and go to the washroom and give myself a little pat?
That's crazy.
But it happens all the time. Are you in a matatu and you're doing weird things to your... You know what? You people are funny. You're funny. I've told you this story before. The Tanzanian girl, when I went to Tanzania like 2, 3, maybe 4 years ago, and this one guy was basically just, you know, jerking off on a woman in the bus. We're in the bus, tuko matatu, and this guy is going off on her to the point where he finished on her, like, just all over her. And the whole time this woman is just like, Jamani, minim come to, why would you do this to me? That is now a problem. like the that like, where's your self-control, you know? It shouldn't be the first and last thing you think about. It shouldn't be to the point where now you're hurting yourself, because you've seen people do this as well. Like, you're now injuring yourself, you have actual aches and pains because you've been doing it too much. Like, you are now you know, trying weird things to yourself, simply because how many doctors have mentioned this with the things that they've taken out of other human beings? Sijui cucumbers, sijui carrots, other people sijui have put sijui what in their butt. I'm just like, dude, at some point, it's a problem, you know? Like, at some point, the number of things that you're putting inside your body and you're trying to use for your own sexual pleasure is, you know, let's draw a line somewhere. Like, at some point, we need to draw a line. And those are some of the signs that you're overdoing it, you know? It's like, are you inflicting pain on yourself because you're doing it too much? Or you're doing it too, like, is there pain involved? If there's pain involved and it's not good pain, difference, then you're doing too much. If you are thinking about it too much to the point where you can't conduct other activities around your life, like, your first and last thought is, where am I going to get a private space where I can do this to myself? If you are now doing it on other people in matatus, like, you're sitting next to someone and you're rubbing on them, no,
Or
you're
you're a
doing
cab
too much.
driver.
You're a cab driver. Oh, yes, you remember that cab driver? Oh, no. The cab driver who was
Disgusting.
doing it and they had a whole passenger. So gross. If you are feeling the need to ask someone else to do things to you and you don't know them, they're a stranger, yeah, you're doing too much, you know?
Yeah.
You're doing too much. So rein it in.
And if also you're doing it as a method of coping, as a coping mechanism, because this is
yeah.
actually, you know, it forms as a form of release, as a form of, I have so much anxiety, I just need a break from it all. If it's a form of coping, if it's you not wanting to deal with the depression that is creeping in, and you can tell when the seasonal depression is like kicking in, you know, when your room starts getting untidy, when you don't want to go to work anymore, and you're just feeling very blue, and instead of addressing what is actually plaguing you, you seek this momentary
Release.
pockets of joy,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word. If that is the case, that is also a problem. But there are things that you can do when you feel the need to do the do. For example, you could go on a walk, like physical activity.
Yep.
And sometimes it's your body just wanting to release a lot of energy. You know, like, have you thought of going to the gym? I'm not fat shaming you, babes, but have you thought of going to the gym before you went and, you know, bamchikawawad yourself? Kabla hujajibaka, jamini, umefikiria kwenda kwenye gym? Because, you know, you probably don't have a sexual partner.
Yeah.
You don't have a boyfriend. You don't have a girlfriend. You don't have any of those.
Yeah.
And number two, you're at work from whatever hours. You're stuck in traffic. You get home. You're tired. And then on the one free day you have, of course, your body needs something. Okay, so have you thought of going for a walk? Like hanging out with your kids and playing with them and running around the house just to expel that pent up energy that's in you, to get endorphins in another way other than masturbation.
Absolutely. And in addition to that, there's also like, I said there's a lot of variety to it. There's also the level of comfort. Like, you don't have, okay, again, this is not like a cup of tea that everybody will like, you know. If you feel like for you it's just not working, just, it's okay to explore it in your own time, on your own pace, at your own pace, sorry, and just enjoy it as you feel comfortable. Because again, there is no reason to be doing the extremes. Like, there's really no reason. You will see the advertisement, oh, sijui rose wear, sijui who's buying what. Like, there are so many toys now that are being advertised right, left, and center. But if you are not there, there's no reason for you to do it. Like, if you are not feeling like you're comfortable enough to use gadgets and devices, then don't do it. You don't need to be pressured into it. It's your self-pleasure. It's like waking up in the morning and taking a shower. You decide, do I just want to wash my face? Do I want to do the French way, makwapa, kidogo kidogo hapa, and then you're out? Or do I want to take a full-on shower? Or do you want to soak in a tub? Like, the immersion levels are fully dependent on you and your comfort level. So also pay attention to what your body is telling you. If you try something and it doesn't work for you, just like, maybe that's not it. Try something else, try something else, Yeah.
And also just hang out with people more, because in those moments of isolation is when you feel
Oh,
the
yeah,
need
for
to do
sure.
all of this. When you're feeling a bit lonely and you're feeling a bit disconnected from everybody else, a voice just whispers and says, but you got me. You got yourself. You need to get yourself. Maybe be more social. And it is a task to be intentionally social, especially when you just don't feel like, I don't feel
Yeah.
like going out on a Saturday and hanging out with my friends.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's too much of a task to like go for brunch. It's too expensive to go to a restaurant. Call your friend and hang out. Like, where's your family? Have you even hung out with your family? Have you gone back to your najua move out move out mkiwa mmeenda, but can you like take a weekend and just go home and hang out with your people, hang out with human beings more, and you feel less, I don't know,
You basically have less time to
think
to
about.
convince yourself that this is what you want to do for the night. This is how you want to spend the night.
Yeah.
But like, have you heard of the myths that exist about masturbation as well? Do you know that people believe? Actually, I'm seeing so many. Do you know that some people believe that masturbation can cause infertility?
Why?
I don't know. Some people believe that there is a chance that if you masturbate, you may have infertility. And that's absolutely a lie, because obviously scientifically there is no link. Like, there is no link whatsoever that you jerking off and infertility are even in the same group. You know what I mean? Another one apparently is that it can lead to blindness and hairy palms. Like, your hands are hairy and you are blind. How? Like, guys, can we stop throwing these things out there? Insane.
What do you mean you masturbated yourself into blindness?
How? Like, unless you have a stroke in the middle of it, and it's even then, like, there's no guarantee of blindness.
Oh, that's crazy.
What about the other very common one, that it decreases your libido with like your partner?
I feel it's more you become less intolerant to people who are not doing it for you, because you already know what works for you. So sometimes you're like, I better just do it by myself. And that's not what you should be doing. If your partner is not doing something correctly, you're like, babes, that's my labia, that's not my clitoris. I don't know what you're rubbing. Stop rubbing my mokonyo. There's nothing there. There's absolutely no pleasure I get when you do that. I think it's more of a challenge for you to communicate what
you
works
want
for you, instead of just saying, I'll just do it myself.
And it can
That's
it can become a very easy thing to do. It's like, all right, do whatever you need to do. I still have to get myself
Because it's
off.
difficult to have this conversation. It's difficult to tell a man that's not it.
Bruh.
I know you're sweating, but you have done nothing. That's
why
you don't want to say
trying
that.
to burn parts of me. If you can smell friction, it's a problem. Can we get serious? Can we get serious? Another one apparently is that it can be addictive. That's actually a myth. It is very rare that it can be addictive. Yes, it can get addictive for some people, but that's, again, a matter of self-control, guys. Like, just really be realistic. As an adult, you have to work, you have all these responsibilities. Like, how do you have time to get an addiction from masturbating? Like, if you are, get serious and see someone about it, because you have some self-control issues. But really, it can't, apparently, it's very
not
rare.
addictive. It's just an impulse thing.
Yeah.
And you are an adult. You can control an impulse.
Yeah.
But then if you're not 100% okay, that's when you start doing these weird things in public transport.
Yeah.
It's not an addiction. It's a mental illness
health
now.
issue. Yeah, that's a
you
proper
thing.
mental health issue. And another one that apparently is very common, but again, because of the taboo nature of the conversation, is that men masturbate more than women. Guys, can we please bust that myth? Myth
Well,
busted.
I got news for you, babes.
Let me tell you, the number of women that are sexually frustrated in this world are so many that it gets to a point where the only resolve you have is getting yourself off. Like, you do the job and finish the job. Otherwise, mtashinda hapo ukisumbuana na mtu. And so the fact that people assume that women are not as active sexually with regard specifically to self-pleasure, y'all are wrong.
We could have this conversation till tomorrow. That's
Till the
what we
cows
do.
come
That's what we're
back.
good at. We have points on points on points, but we will leave you with enough room for you to ruminate and just think about this. Think if it's affecting your life, if it's a form of self-expression for you, if it's self-discovery for you. What does masturbation do for you? And that's our show. My name is Turi Faye.
Absolutely. And if it's becoming an issue, it is important for you to also see someone about it. Find a support group. There's so many. And have these conversations with other adults. Maybe you will learn a thing or two. My name is Kathami.